solid. Go to Pitt's lineup and you look at Patterson, Zana, and Wright. They're all in double-figure scoring. Robinson and Young, very solid. Two terrific starting lineups. Clemson 4-1, Pitt 4-1. Two of the top 4 teams in the ACC. The officials tonight, Brian Dorsey, Sean Hall, Michael Stevens. We're underway, and Clemson has it first.
And Pitt's going to open in the man-to-man.
This is McDaniels.
And you want to watch this matchup, McDaniels against Patterson. They'll be going against one another on both ends of the court.
Hall drifts again to the top of the key, gets it over to Roper. Down to the baseline, here's McDaniels, a little pump fake and bangs it in.
We talked about McDaniels before the game, Tim. He is outstanding around the basket. One reason is he can jump up over just about anybody and score.
Robinson will run the show, and this is Patterson. Back outside to Patterson. Oh, Robinson had an open lane, couldn't finish. Clemson doesn't have numbers, they're aggressive anyway.
This is a very good Pitt defensive team. You'd like to get down the court and get some easy opportunities in transition.
Well, McDaniels was not even close with the 3, so inside they go. And the foul is called. Zana gets the bucket and will go to the line for one more attempt.
Talib Zana is an outstanding inside player, and you talk about transition. That time Pitt got the ball up quickly. Excellent passing, gets it to Zana. The problem for Clemson, that's foul number 1 on McDaniels. He's a guy they can ill afford to have in foul trouble.
So Zana at the line, a 61% free throw shooter, draws iron. You know, Dan, that's something we talked about before the game. As a matter of fact, they thought about Blossingame, covering, good defending on Patterson.
Well,
instead, they went to McDaniels.
Well, McDaniels is a shot blocker, so he's going to try to block shots. You got to be careful in a game like this. You don't want to let your aggressiveness cause you foul problems.
McDaniels picks up his dribble. Shot clock at 5. Roper recognizes it. And the Panthers come away with it.
Clemson, the top defensive team in the Atlantic Coast Conference. So if you're Pitt, you'd certainly like to get down there quickly.
Right on the baseline. Doesn't have anything there. Brings it back out to Robinson. Shot clock now at 10. And a walk. And so a turnover for the Panthers. Brad Brownell in his 4th year at Clemson. He's the 21st head coach at Clemson in basketball. And he has turned that program around. Robinson got a hand on it.
Clemson not a high-scoring offensive team.
It's critical, though, that they get off to a good start. Blossingame a little bit short, gets his own rebound, takes it up, has that blocked. Patterson with a pass down low, and this foul will be on Roper, and that'll be his first. And so Jordan Roper picks up the personal foul, and Zana goes to the line.
And one of the things that you saw there was the ability of Lamar Patterson to pass the ball. This is a guy who is among the leading scorers in the Atlantic Coast Conference, but he's also among the leaders in assists. He is an excellent passer. In fact, this is an excellent passing Pitt team, and he's the ringleader.
Zana makes the first. Talib Zana, 6'9", 230-pound junior from Nigeria. Scored in double figures 12 times this year with 6 double-doubles.
And like Patterson, Zana's another one of those guys who put in his time at Pitt, developed as the seasons went on, and now has a leading role as a senior.
Now Roper, his arm was injured on that play. He goes out now. They've given him a sleeve. DeMarcus Harrison comes in for Clemson. Makes the second. Also wanted to switch the ball. Was that ball a little bit too not bouncy enough? They wanted more bounce in the ball, so they switched balls as well.
I don't think I've ever seen that in a basketball.
I don't think I have either.
They changed basketballs?
They did. What I'm told from the scorers table. Look at Jamie Dixon, 48 years old now in his 11th year at Pitt. Played at Texas Christian. National Coach of the Year several times. What a job he's done with Pitt. Four to 2 game.
And Pitt's scoring has been on the inside. They've been able to get the ball in there and draw fouls against the Clemson Tigers.
Shot clock at 7. Back to Patterson for 3. Splash.
That is the definition of offensive efficiency right there. Pitt does not rely heavily on the three-point shot, but Patterson is a guy who can knock him down with anybody.
Foul is called on Robinson. That'll be his first away from the ball.
An awful lot of attention being given clearly to KJ McDaniels.
One of the big concerns for Brad Brunell, and it's one of the reasons they put McDaniels on Patterson, was because they didn't want him to get out to a 13-2 lead. Here it is 7-2 Pitt early. Long rebound. Daniels with the save before it goes back to the timeline. Give it to Hall, and Brunell calls out the offense.
Pitt drops back into a 2-3 zone. This is a defense that you have used very effectively at times this year.
McDaniels stepped on the baseline. Timeout on the floor. We'll take one as well. The Panthers out early. It's 7-2 Pitt. We'll be back after this. Clemson hit its first field goal since then, 0 for 4 with 2 turnovers. Take a look at our 4 keys to the game, Dan.
Something we mentioned here just a couple of minutes ago, inside threats. The Clemson Tigers, they have to be inside threats on the offensive end, and they got to keep Pitt out of the middle. Haven't done a good job of that so far. And for the Pitt Panthers, it's all about contested shots. This is a Clemson team that isn't an offensive juggernaut. You've got to contest their shots, and for Pitt, you need to get as many easy shots as you can.
Absolutely. Good call there. So after McDaniel stepped on the line, it was a turnover. Fowler comes into the ball game now for Clemson.
And again, this is an outstanding defensive Clemson outfit, and they need to rely on their defense right now until they can get going a little bit on the offensive end.
Pitt's last possession, they took it down inside 10 seconds, utilized it well, and Patterson hit a 3. Shot clock now at 10 seconds. Nice pass to Wright. How sweet was that?
Once again, they get the ball really close to the basket. Very patient on the offensive end. Great movement without the ball, and another fabulous pass from Lamar Patterson.
Out to Harrison, and around they go. Fowler touches it. Fowler penetrates and loses it. Turnover number 3 for the Tigers. Pitt 3 for 4 from the field. Inside they go. Patterson walked. Lamar Patterson shuffled his pivot feet.
Well, what you've got here is Zana is going to come over, and the defense is sort of going to follow him. Everybody's staring to the ball. Nobody sees Wright as he comes in from the corner. That's just good movement without the basketball, and all the Clemson players are watching the ball.
Clemson left the backdoor wide open, and he took it. 9-2 Pitt. Clemson has gone 5 minutes without a bucket, and they lose it again. Wright ahead to Zana. 4 straight turnovers for Clemson, and Brad Brunell wants a timeout.
Zana comes up, and just not a very good job protecting the ball by Fowler. And then you can't recover that ball by slapping at it, Tim. You have to pick it up. The guy who picks it up is Cameron Wright, and Talib Zana, he does exactly the right thing. The ball's rolling toward the basket. He heads off in that direction and gets a dunk as a result. Pitt has gotten nothing except for that three-point shot by Lamar Patterson. They've gotten all layups and dunks and a couple of free throws. They're really wearing the Tigers out inside.
Clemson having a tough time adjusting to this atmosphere.
And one thing you mentioned, Brad Brunell called that timeout after 4 consecutive turnovers. You're not going to score very many points if you never shoot the ball.
Peterson Event Center is loud, one of the loudest college arenas, and it is rocking tonight. 11-2, exactly what Clemson did not want. That bucket will count. It's a 2-ball, and the whistle and the foul will go to the line for one more.
That's a basket Clemson desperately needed.
Foul is on Newkirk, and Roper with a strong shot after being fouled stayed up and made it, and made them pay.
Well, Roper is a guy who can score from the outside. That was actually a nice move to get closer to the basket.
And he gets the roll.
And Clemson, obviously, they lead the ACC in free throw percentage. So this is a team, the more they can get to the line, the better. But they've got to find a way to make Pitt take some contested shots.
McDaniel's doing a nice job, though, on Patterson.
Keep in mind, McDaniels has 1 foul already. He's got to be careful. He doesn't want to pick up that second one at this point in the first half.
Patterson takes it down the middle. He's struggling for the open shots. Fowler is fouled, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
And you can see what Clemson is trying to do. They're trying to push the ball and get down the court before that Pitt defense can get set up.
Newkirk picks up his second personal foul. Fowler, an 81% free throw shooter, and he misses the first. Closed captioning for ACC basketball is provided by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. It's bow time.
And we just mentioned Clemson, the leading free throw shooting team in the ACC. And that's something that you have to do effectively if you're going to win on the road. You get those opportunities, you have to convert them at a very high percentage.
And the sophomore from Chicago makes the second. So it's an 11-6 Pitt lead. Pittsburgh 4-1, Clemson 4-1. They call this on McDaniel?
Yes,
it is, and that is 2 quick ones on KJ McDaniels.
Well, that's not the way you wanted to start on the road. And again, McDaniels is very aggressive trying to block shots, and a lot of times that's how you can attack a shot blocker. Just go right after him and see if you can get him in foul trouble.
Cameron Wright banks it around, and it comes back out. Cameron Wright, a junior from Cleveland, could be their most improved player, but he's only a 67% free throw shooter. And makes the second. Pitt.
Clemson's got to be able to get it done with their leading scorer on the bench.
Roper again. Got a pretty good look that time. Right from long range.
And Wright is not a three-point shooter. That's only his 4th three-point basket he's made this year. He came in as a 13% three-point shooter. So if you're Clemson, you're really shaking your head now. Just very little has gone right here in the first few minutes of this game.
No pun intended. Harrison knocks down a 2-ball.
And Harrison, the guy, he comes off the bench and he's not shy about shooting the ball. And they're going to need his offensive production today.
Artis almost throws it away. Robinson passes on the baseline. The whistle and the foul. The foul will be on Chris Jones. That'll be his first.
No, it's actually
correction, that's Smith.
And Smith had pretty good position, but instead of keeping his hands straight up in the air, he dropped his hands when Jones went to shoot the ball, and that resulted in the foul. If he just keeps his hands straight up in the air, Jones is forced into a very tough shot.
Chris Jones, the freshman from New Jersey, T-neck area, and makes the first.
And they're very high on Jones. They think he is eventually going to be a very good player here at Pitt. And Jones is getting an opportunity because Deron Johnson injured his knee. In fact, the last time you and I were here for the Wake Forest game, Johnson tore an ACL, and so Jones is going to get much more playing time than maybe he would have gotten otherwise. Great opportunity for this young man.
And he makes them both. Zana goes out of the ball game for Pitt. Derek Randall comes back in. As you look at Deron Johnson, Dan just talked about his torn ACL. He always plays with a headband, so today everybody in the arena seems to have a headband. 11:57 to play in the first half. 17-8, the Panthers. Ruby Tuesday takes us around the ACC for Dan to check in on conference action.
That's very interesting. North Carolina State came from behind to win that game against Maryland without T.J. Warren, who sprained his ankle and missed the game. Florida State and Notre Dame, you know, Florida State's a funny team. They play great defensively, but, you know, every once in a while they struggle offensively. And that's the action later tonight and tomorrow.
Everybody has their headbands tonight in honor of Duron Johnson, who tore his ACL. And the great Dick Groat is also wearing his. Now, Dan, you never wore a headband, right? You just wore the knee pads.
Wristbands were big.
Yeah, oh yeah, you were a wristband guy and knee pads. Turnover by the Tigers.
You know,
Dick
Groat is a Pittsburgh institution. All-American at Duke, obviously. Now, see, that's clearly
a mental error.
You're allowed to throw the ball in the backcourt from an inbounds pass, but you can't throw it to a guy coming from the front court. Wow.
Boy, you're right about the great Dick Groat. What a shortstop. Over 2,000 hits in his career. Great star down at Duke.
Yeah, an All-American basketball player, Duke. National League MVP baseball in 1960. There's Wright. And Pitt, again, Pitt scores fewer than 20, or excuse me, Robinson. Pitt scores fewer than 20% of its points from behind the three-point arc, but they've got 3 of them already tonight.
Extend their lead to 20-8.
That's going to make it even more difficult for Clemson to defend if you've got to push out on these Pitt perimeter shooters. That makes the inside game even more open.
Nice pass inside.
City Jete with that score. Clemson is not a team that throws the ball to its big guys inside a lot in low post situations. Big guys mainly get the ball off the offensive board and catch the ball as a result of drives to the basket. So the more offense they can get from those guys inside, obviously the better.
The book on Robinson is if he hits his first, he's going to keep going back to the well. Here they turn it over. The Tigers will try to run, don't have numbers. So Hall brings it back out.
Hall's not much of a shooter, but he can really drive the ball. And there Roper pushes off, so another turnover for the Clemson Tigers.
Extended that arm, the old chicken wing. Roper picks up the personal. And you got the feeling, Dan, that Clemson right now is in a danger zone.
They really are in a danger zone, Tim, but they looked like they got knocked to the mat, and they've gotten back up a couple of times. It's very important for the Tigers to dig in here defensively and get some better opportunities on the offensive end. They're right on the edge of the abyss.
Patterson goes to the floor, tries to get rid of it, does. Patterson from way outside. That wasn't even close. Zana gets it back. Great give and go.
This is
Young to Zana.
This is a great passing team. You know, a lot of guys in Michael Young's situation would have tried for the dunk and they'd have picked up a charge. That's just a great, great pass.
Talib Zana has 8 points for the Panthers. And this will be a foul.
And the important thing, Blossom game, just watching where he's throwing the ball. And great job by Young to get stopped because Blossom game was in perfect position to draw the charge.
The foul was on Cameron Wright, his first. Jamie Dixon's not happy about it. He thought it was a tie-up and had the possession arrow. Great double team in the corner. Pitt known for its tenacious defense and protecting the ball.
And here they are back in the zone. You can see Brad Brownell thinks this game is about to get away because McDaniels with those 2 fouls is back in the game. Let's see if the Panthers elect to attack him.
Well, you can feel it. You can feel that the game is about to get away. That's what we were saying, danger zone. And Pitt is in no hurry. Patterson takes it at the bucket and he's fouled. So Jumbo picks up his first personal. Lamar Patterson, 6'5", 225-pound senior, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. There's a look at Jamie Dixon. Assistant at Pitt in 99 and 2000, 48 years old, now 11 years here at Pitt.
Just tremendous success. And you don't have that kind of success unless you're really good at building a program. He just doesn't have a couple of good teams and then they drop off. They're good every year. And that's because he's able to develop players like Talib Zanna and Lamar Patterson, who play small roles early in their careers. The roles increase as they get older. And then in their third and fourth years, they become outstanding offensive and defensive contributors.
How about the expression on his face? He is into this game. And his Panthers right now lead the Tigers 24-10. 7 turnovers for Clemson in the first half. Harrison. Long rebound to get it back. Ball's still loose and the Panthers come up with it. And Wright loses it out of bounds for Pitt. Pitt lost to Syracuse last weekend, 59-54. Clemson beat Wake 61-53. The feeling here, Dan, is that they should have beaten Syracuse, but then you made a good point. A lot of teams feel that way, but Syracuse just keeps winning.
Well, Syracuse rarely dominates anybody, but they just win the games. They make plays when they have to make plays.
That's for 3 from Hall.
Hall, but it's only his 26th three-point attempt of the year, his 9th make. But Clemson needs offense wherever they can get it from whomever they can get it.
Lead still 11. Back out to right. This is for 2. Bang!
Boy, what great movement. Just great offensive movement. And again, who's throwing that pass? It's Lamar Patterson.
Pittsburgh in this first half has hit 8 of its 11 shots.
And that's against the leading field goal percentage defensive team in the ACC, one of the tops in the country.
Robinson has his shot blocked. Ball's still loose, and this will be last touch by Pitt. Timeout on the floor. Pitt 26, Clemson 13. This place is rocking.
The Pitt Panthers have done the job from beyond the three-point arc today, and excellent passing has set up wide-open threes. Lamar Patterson knocking one down, Cameron Wright knocking one down, and James Robinson knocking one down. The Panthers are 3 of 4 from out there, and this is a team, in terms of making three-point baskets, the only teams in the league who have made fewer three-point baskets coming into this game than Pitt are North Carolina and North Carolina State. But again, this has been an outstanding program, and they figure out a way to get it done, whether it be from 3 or 2 defensively, and here the numbers indicate that.
Yeah, no question about that. Clemson just 1 for 5 beyond the arc with 7 turnovers. So the Tigers have hurt themselves badly while Pitt continues to play its game. Zone defense now by the Panthers.
And McDaniel has been very quiet today as he's been on the bench in foul trouble, and he's really got to watch his aggressiveness on both ends of the court.
Good hustle by Pitt to make the save. And Robinson resets the offense. Never in a hurry. Young had a good look. Boy, right to the rack. Nicely done by Harrison. Harrison has come in and given him some quality time here.
He is a potential source of offense for the Tigers, and that's certainly what they could use. Now they show a 2-3 zone. And what you'd like to do with this defense is try to keep Pitt out of the middle, force them to be jump shooters.
Boy, it doesn't get much better than that. Randall down low just banks it in as we go into the 6-minute mark of the first half.
Randall is a very valuable inside sub. He only plays about 11 minutes a game, but he plays hard when he's in there. He's capable offensively down around the basket. He's a good rebounder and defender. Gives you an idea of how deep the Panthers are along the front line.
Randall played 2 years at Rutgers. This is a 3-ball, long rebound. And
now Ibrahim Jumbo, that's 2 threes that he's missed, and you know, he's made 5 this year, but it's possible that he should get closer to the basket.
There's no question he's only 5 for 25. So, I mean, that in itself would tell you he's up on the 3-ball.
But, so you're saying it's possible he's open out there for a reason?
I'm saying you're right, partner. Shot clock at 5. Wright takes a 3. And the long rebound, they get it back.
So the defense was successful. They forced Pitt into a long perimeter jump shot, but your defense doesn't end until you get the ball.
Yeah, and that was Pitt's first offensive rebound of the game.
Well, they haven't missed very many shots.
That's my point.
Had a lot of opportunities. Clemson now back in the man-to-man.
Shot clock at 10, inside to Jones. Another terrific pass, got him down low, but he couldn't finish. And Hall bangs down a 3.
Boy, he's hit a couple of big shots.
So Rod Hall hits the 3-ball, makes it a 10-point game, and immediately the timeout is called.
Jamie Dixon called that timeout so he could get Patterson and Zana back in the ball game.
.420 to play in the half.
Now we've talked about Clemson and what a quality defensive team they are, but Pitt is too, and so when you can get down the court and get an open opportunity like that in transition, you have to take it.
The ACC.com/social hub is your source for the latest ACC buzz on social media. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget to tag your basketball tweets and all your photos with the hashtag ACCMBB. The ACC.com/social hub, your official ACC social media source.
So is that the hashtag that you use?
When I'm doing my ACC work, yes.
Okay, all right, good. Glad to hear it.
Well, that's where I saw you the other day.
Clemson showing a little bit of pressure and then dropping right back. Back into that zone.
Pitt is so efficient with the basketball offensively. They take care of it. They use a lot of the clock, and they get high percentage shots. Shot clock at 8. Robinson for 3, just like that.
And Tim, even when they're not efficient, that ball bounces off the foot of Artis and goes outside. That's the equivalent of a great pass. You think they'll give him an assist on that play? The ball bounced off his foot and went out to Robinson.
I know Robinson has 6 points. Throws it away.
Oh, that's some pass. That's a better one.
To Zana.
Wow.
Zana with 12 points.
Wow.
33-18. And the Panthers just exploded. Shot clock is at 10. Into the corner. Boy, Harrison had a good look.
Boy, sure did. Oh!
How about that? Zana again.
Zana doing a great job running the court, and you talk about rewarding your big guy for running the court. That is some pass by Lamar Patterson. You know, we talked about his passing ability, but that is just really something right there. And Zana, he's going right to the basket, totally confident that if he gets open, he's going to get the ball.
And the Oakland Zoo loves it.
Pitt has scored 12 field goals in this game, Tim, and they have 12 assists.
Efficiency
Oh.
at its best.
And the other thing that means is they're getting really good looks at the basket.
Half of them have been down low, too, right in tight.
Patterson with 4 assists. He also has 3 rebounds. Zana's got 12 points in the game, and he's gotten those points just running the floor.
So how do you stop the bleeding here if you're Clemson? They need points. Who do you go to?
I think the most important thing you have to do, Tim, is stop turning the ball over.
Jumbo shot, no good. Pitt comes away with another.
And somehow you have to figure out a way to get KJ McDaniels involved in the offense. You know, what the Pitt defense has forced Clemson to do is have guys who are not normally offensive players take a lot of shots, and that's a pretty good formula, defensive formula for success. Not such a good formula for Clemson.
Jones at the foul line. They back off of him. Artis will take the 3 ball, draws iron. And Jumbo comes away with it.
See, that's a force. That is a very, very tough shot. And now Roper's got to hurry because it's a 5-on-4.
He may have overpassed that one, though. Patterson got in the ball in the lane. Patterson, the 19th Pitt player ever to get 1,000 points and 500 rebounds, and they love it.
And let's take a look at our AT&T Fast analysis. And one of the factors of this game that has been very important so far is the Pitt three-point shooting. The Panthers have made 4 three-point baskets in this first half. They only average about 4 three-pointers per game on the season, but the three-point shot has been very productive for them tonight. Only about 35% on the season, but they're 4 of 7, 57% tonight.
Yeah, Pitt shooting lights out. Meanwhile, Clemson can't buy a basket, hitting just 33% from the field. Pitt has won 15 games this year by an average of 17 points. And you look at the score here right now, and Pitt is right where it usually is. Final minute and a half of the first half. Dangerous pass there by Patterson. Right off the ear of McDaniels.
McDaniels, I think, he lost his aggressiveness a little bit when he picked up that second foul. You can certainly appreciate that.
Artis has to go to the rack because there's 1 on the shot clock. So this...
And that was a dangerous play. McDaniel went right after him, and I thought, maybe he had his arm on him a little bit too, driving down through the lane. That was a really risky play.
Barely time to catch it and shoot it, and they don't. Where you really need just a tip.
Well, of course, the shot clock doesn't have tenths of a second.
That's exactly right. And it was right at the end of it.
Yeah. It was one, but as they say in football, it was a short one.
It was a very short one. So under a minute to play now in the first half. Clemson's got to regroup here at halftime and try to get back in this thing. This is a 2-ball. And again, Clemson all over the boards. And this foul will be against Noko. Coming up at the Hardy's Halftime Report, we'll give you a preview of our first Kings of the Court show. That's the Emmy Award-nominated show, and it'll feature stories on former ACC greats Chris Paul and Charlie Ward. That plus highlights, stats, and a whole lot more coming up on the Hardy's Halftime Report. So Artis at the line. He's a 72% free throw shooter. And he makes the first.
Jamel Artis is a rugged, high-energy type of player. He's a very good offensive rebounder. They really like his ability to drive the ball to the basket. He can go outside and shoot the three. He's only taken 7 on the year, but he's made 3 of them, so a pretty high percentage shooter. But when you have a guy who's his size, can play inside the way he can play inside, and then he can go outside, then that really presents a difficult matchup for opponents.
So Artis comes in and makes them both, with Clemson now over the limit at 7 fouls. Runner one-hander, and that makes it 37-20 with 25 seconds to play. So showing a little life here down the stretch.
McDaniels, that's really where he likes to play. He's very good at getting those shots in the lane. Outstanding mid-range game, but he hadn't had much of a chance. Got to be careful if you're McDaniels right here. You can't get your 3rd foul.
Final 6 seconds. Patterson, left-handed. Clemson gets it with 2. This is good as it goes. So the first half is all the Pitt Panthers, 37-20 over the Clemson Tigers. We'll be back with our halftime activities right after this.
People once thought bigger meant stronger. Then a man weighing 135 pounds destroyed that notion, proving that might can be light. Defying convention is also the Mazda way, and why the all-new Mazda 3 was created with Skyactiv technology, so it's lighter yet stronger and more nimble, with an engine that punches above its weight. This is the all-new Mazda 3. What do you drive?
Welcome to the Mazda Halftime Report.
Welcome into the Mazda Halftime Report. I'm Kerry Chow alongside ESPN College Hoops analyst Seth Greenberg. Coming up, we're talking bubbles. What schools are on the bubble and how do they get into the tournament? But first, time to preview an upcoming slate of games. We'll start in the Big Ten. Michigan coming off a huge win against Wisconsin, taking on Iowa. What should we expect in this one?
2 of the hottest teams in the Big Ten. You're thinking about an Iowa basketball team. They score it easy. They play 11 guys, and on any given night, someone can step up. No doubt Roy Marble's making shots, playing off the bounce, and Fran McCaffrey does a great job getting to the ball. But Mike Gesell doing a nice job of playmaking, seeing plays early, and the depth of Iowa is so impressive with Aaron White running the floor. And then for Michigan, this is an improved Michigan basketball team without Mitch McGeary because their front court is actually contributing. Jordan Morgan and John Horford, they've combined for averaging 18 points and 9 rebounds a game, which is a lot like Mitch McGeary. But the key to me is right now they've changed their offense. Last year it was 70% ball screens. Now there's more ball movement, ball reversal, and Nick Stauskas, whoo, that dude is balling.
He is a baller for sure. All right, let's talk about the defending national champions, Louisville. They take on South Florida. What should we watch for in this one?
Louisville had a huge win at Connecticut, and I like the way they won the basketball game. Montrezl really got involved in the basketball game, running the floor, getting to the offensive glass, but most importantly, that matchup zone. The matchup zone really is the neutralizer for Louisville. It makes you react to them. They did a great job of pushing Shabazz Napier out, containing Ryan Boatwright. It's kind of like the Rubik's Cube. It's almost impossible to solve, but the matchup zone is the equalizer, especially now with the new rules where they're not getting as much out of their press. But Russ Smith is playing at a high level. Montrezl is giving him some front court depth. The key to Louisville, most importantly, is they've got to stay out of foul trouble.
I could never solve a Rubik's Cube. It's just too tough for me.
Well, I'm with you, bro. That's why I was on the bubble for 48 months.
All right, Jabari Parker and Duke taking on Miami. What should we watch for in this one?
I think the key to this game is going to be Duke's ability to attack Miami's matchup zone. Miami's done a really good job controlling the tempo of the game offensively and defensively. How do you do it defensively? By being hard to score against. The matchup zone has done a nice job of keeping people on the perimeter. They've done a good job of contesting shots and putting themselves in position to rebound the ball. Now for Duke, Jabari Parker, you talk about hitting the wall. I think he got through the wall the other day. Shooting the ball with a little bit more confidence. It'll be interesting to see how Mike Krzyzewski moves him against that matchup zone. And I think the other thing is they cannot settle to be a jump shooting team. Against that zone, they still got to get some type of inside offense.
Jabari Parker, what an amazing athlete. All right, let's talk about Wichita State. The Shockers taking on Illinois State. What should we expect in this one?
Well, I love the way Wichita State's playing. You think about all the pressure that they're on right now because everyone's talking about this undefeated season, and they are a legitimate chance to run the table. Why? Because they got a terrific backcourt. And you talk about the game starting in the backcourt. Fred VanVleet and Ron Baker, they make shots. VanVleet's ability to probe the defense, keep his dribble alive, get to the rim. And then Baker, he's not just a jump shooter. He can shot fake, make plays off the bounce. Clee Anthony Early is a very tough matchup up front. But more importantly, they don't turn the basketball over. They rebound on the defensive end, and then they contest each and every shot. This team doesn't just play angry. This team plays well. They share the ball, they dictate the shot offensively, and they make you take a tough shot defensively.
It'll be interesting to see if they can run the table. All right, Wisconsin coming off their loss to Michigan, taking on Minnesota. What are you looking for in this one?
This is going to come down to turnovers, and Minnesota had a very rough time with Iowa, but this is a Wisconsin team. They play 3 guards. They should be able to handle that full court pressure of Minnesota. Minnesota's backcourt, on the other hand, extremely talented. It's the Hollins brothers. No, they're not related. But Andre and Austin Hollins put a great deal of pressure on you offensively and defensively. Andre's the jump shooter. Austin slashes, gets to the rim. He's also doing a great job rebounding the basketball. The development of the Minnesota front court has been the difference. But this is a Minnesota team. If they can turn you over and get out in transition, they're in pretty good shape. Now, Wisconsin, I do have concerns because in their last 2 games, they have struggled in defensive transition and they've struggled defending the basketball on straight line drives. That will be the challenge for them as Minnesota attacks you off the bounce and they look to score in transition.
That's how you do game previews right there, Coach. All right, coming up on the Mazda Halftime Report, we're bursting bubbles. Coach analyzes which teams can cement their tourney spots. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Sure, it's great to have you back on board, Mark.
It's great to be back. Hey, my old notebook. Let me see that.
You don't want to look at that. That's boring.
It's draft notes.
Oh, let me get it.
No. Curry. Too short, too slow.
Did I say that? I wouldn't call
With
you
luck,
that.
maybe a career in Turkey.
You know, Turkey's pretty competitive right now.
ESPN, your NBA destination for games Wednesdays and Fridays.
Welcome back to the Mazda Halftime Report. Kerry Chow alongside Seth Greenberg. Coach, it's never too early to talk bubbles. Some teams not guaranteed tournament access, so let's talk about what they need to do to get in. We'll start off with Tom Crean's Indiana Hoosiers. What do they need to do to get into the March Madness party?
Well, I have a PhD in bubbleology. Joe Lunardi might be the bracketologist. I'm the bubbleologist. And when I look at Indiana's team, they had a great win against Wisconsin, but you've got to back that win up. Their loss against Northwestern is going to hurt them. That's just the reality of it. You cannot have losses to teams that might be below 100 in the RPI. But what they really need to do is they need to be more consistent offensively. They need to be able to make shots and score it. Now, Tom Crean made some adjustments to his offense. He's gone small. Evan Gordon now is playing the two guard alongside Yogi Ferrell. Their turnovers are down. They were averaging 16 turnovers a game, now only 11. So they're taking better care of the basketball, but they must make shots and they must be more consistent offensively.
All right, to the Atlantic 10, Shaka Smart's perennial bracket busters, VCU. How do they get in?
Well, they're undefeated against the ACC. They've got a win over BC, a win over Virginia, and a win over Virginia Tech. But they need some quality wins, and they're going to have opportunities. The A-10 right now is a very deep basketball conference. Maybe 5 teams have a legitimate shot of getting in the NCAA tournament. This is a talented basketball team. Early in the season, they really missed Troy Daniels, his ability to make shots. Melvin Johnson right now, he's shooting the ball more confidently. Briante Weber averages over 3 steals a game, and Javante Reddick gives him a legitimate front court player. But the key is you got to beat St. Louis one of those 2 times. You've got to win at Dayton, which is not an easy thing to do. So they've got to find a way to beat the upper half of the A-10. They have a loss at GW. They have a chance to avenge that later in the season.
A-10, a very strong conference, as you mentioned right now. All right, to the Pac-12, Stanford, big win over UConn earlier this season. What do they need to do to get into the March Madness party?
Well, Stanford's starting to play well. This is a mature physical basketball team. You got Powell up front, who's really a versatile offensive player, used to hard to keep off the glass. But the most important thing is they can't afford a bad loss. They had a terrific win against Oregon. That's going to have some shelf life. But what they need to do now is they need to take care of business. Beat the people they're supposed to beat. The win against UConn, that's going to last. That's especially a road win, a quality road win. But you're talking about Colorado, Oregon State win. That's going to be a little bit of a roadblock right now. They cannot afford another bad loss. I like their ability to score. What they've got to do is rebound and defend consistently.
Texas has had some big wins earlier this season. What do they need to do to get off the bubble?
Man, I'll tell you, this is a very talented, tough, physical Texas basketball team. A team that is more like the Rick Barnes teams we've come to know. They defend, they rebound, and they dictate the shot offensively. They share the basketball. They play without an ego. Now, this is a team that lost to BYU early in the year. Again, that's when BYU was playing at a higher level. Michigan State was a tough game. They've lost at Oklahoma. The home loss to Oklahoma will hurt them. That win against North Carolina, they're rooting right now hard for North Carolina. But the problem is they finished the season. Iowa State at Kansas, BU at Oklahoma. That's a little bit of a gauntlet. They need to continue to defend, be efficient offensively, and play with Rick Barnes type of toughness. But this team is very much in the picture. That Iowa State win was huge. The Carolina win on the road is going to be a top 50, top 75 win. Just got to find a way to navigate the end of that season.
Yeah, that schedule, brutal to end the season.
The Big 12 in general, every team has a gauntlet in the middle of their season. Really, really tough to navigate because there are so many good teams in that conference.
All right, and let's move back to the Pac-12. Cal looking really good in conference so far. What do they need to do to get in?
Cal's done a terrific job in conference, and because they've been able to win on the road, they opened up league play with 3 consecutive league wins on the road. This is a Cal basketball team that just continues to get better. They've got a legitimate front court player in Richard Solomon. Justin Cobbs is playing as well as any guard in the country. What they need to do now is they need to continue to play at a high level. The loss to Syracuse, the loss to Creighton, that's not going to hurt them. They need to continue to play well. They've got a terrific home court. Mike Montgomery is one of those guys. He finds a way to win. Jabari Bird, he was out, yet they continued to find a way to win. He was one of the elite freshmen in the country. If they continue to defend, if they continue to be efficient offensively, this team not only is going to make the tournament, but they're going to make a deep run in the tournament because they're efficient offensively and they really do a terrific job on the defensive end, keeping you on the perimeter and contesting shots.
I just wanted to mention Cal did lose to UC Santa Barbara earlier this season.
That's your school.
That is my school.
They were developing their identity. I want to know, did they throw the tortillas on the court after their first basket?
I'd be curious. I bet they did. You know, it's tradition.
It's tradition. I got hit in the head with a couple of those tortillas.
But it was all in good fun. Anyway, good stuff as always. Thanks, Coach. That's going to do it for the Mazda Halftime Report. For Seth Greenberg, I'm Kerry Chow. Enjoy the second half.
Have played only once before, and that was back in 1958. Pitt leads it by 17. Our next telecast on our ACC network station airs this Saturday at 3. Some of you will see Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, take on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. That game will be down in Winston-Salem. Others will see the Commonwealth rivalry. Virginia Tech travels to Charlottesville to take on the red-hot Virginia Cavaliers. More information on how you can watch the ACC network games online on the official ACC mobile app or the ACC.com. Take a look at the nation's top 25. It's brought to you by Honda dealers of the Carolinas. Syracuse still number 2. Some think may be number 1.
And this is a Pitt team that I think is going to be climbing up in the polls. They started the season, nobody paying any attention to them, but they lost. They've only lost those 2 games. One, a 1-point loss to Cincinnati in Madison Square Garden, and then the other, that 5-point loss to Syracuse in the Carrier Dome. But, you know, you talked to him about the upcoming games. That game at Wake Forest for Notre Dame on Saturday. There are 3 teams in the ACC that are unbeaten at home so far this year. Syracuse is one, Pitt is the other, Pitt is another one, and the third team is Wake Forest. They have not lost at the Lawrence Joel Coliseum.
That'll be fun to be down there.
Of course, it all starts for Clemson. We talked about not turning the ball over and offensive efficiency, getting better shots, but it all starts on this end of the court. They are a team that usually holds their opponents to about 35% shooting, and Pitt 57% in the first half. That's got to tighten up first and foremost for the Tigers.
Shot clock is at 5. Picks up his dribble, a little bit of trouble. Patterson's got to go with it. Drains it.
Okay.
Are you serious?
It's that kind of night. I'm not sure that Clemson could have done a much better job defensively than that, but that's just a player making a play at the end of the shot clock. That has to be very discouraging for the Clemson Tigers.
Lamar Patterson. And the whistle and the foul. Sean Hall saw something he didn't like away from the basketball.
Talib Zanna coming through, actually, Landry Noko, who was getting post position inside. And that's something that Noko is doing a little bit more of as the season has gone on. For the most part this season, Clemson's inside game has been created by guys driving to the basket rather than Noko posting up.
First personal on Zanna. Zanna goes to the rack and he's fouled. Noko rather goes to the rack and he's fouled. Foul is on Young, his first.
You can see there on that three-point basket that just behind the three-point line is Lamar Patterson. Now, under the new rules in college basketball, the officials, if they have a question, they're not going to stop and look at it right there, but they then might look at it at the next TV timeout.
How about Noko? Form looks pretty good. He only, coming into the game, had hit only 13 of his 26 free throws. Makes the first and rims out the second.
Which 13 for 26, that's standard procedure there. So the average doesn't lie in that particular case.
Oh my, stop and go by Patterson. Comes up empty.
Nice challenge at the rim by Noko.
McDaniels to the rack. Lost it on the way up. May have been hit from behind.
So far, it's been that kind of night for McDaniels, but there's still plenty of time left in the game. He can still get hot. But obviously, for the Clemson Tigers, you have to get stops.
Clemson has already matched its total win total of a year ago. Nicely done and knocked down by Cameron Wright. He has 10 points. At the other end, Roper answers.
That's a big basket and a big play by KJ McDaniels. That pass was much too long, and he was able to control it and find the open three-point shooter.
Boy, Young was in there tight. He's a little frustrated that he missed that shot.
That was not an easy shot. There were two defenders right there.
Just knocks it down. Cameron Wright. He's 3 for 4.
He scored 2 buckets in this half. He's got 12 points in the game now. A lot of weapons. A lot of weapons for this Pitt team.
And they're hitting on all cylinders tonight. Really playing well. Another turnover. That's 10 turnovers for the Tigers. Young is short with his shot. That'll set up the transition, but the numbers aren't there. Pitt does a great job of getting back on defense. McDaniels again lost the handle twice. Robinson to Zanna.
Now that is some catch. I was surprised that Robinson tried to make that pass. Usually it's a bad idea to throw it to a post guy. A bounce pass with the post guy running in that close quarters. That's a terrific, terrific catch by Talib Zanna.
Threw it right behind the defender, and Zanna took it to the rack. Shot clock is at 10. wasn't even close with the three. And Patterson has the ball knocked away on his pass to Young.
Again, that was another pretty difficult pass right there. You know, they got away with it before, but that time Young wasn't able to control it. Wholesale substitution for Clemson. Brad Brownell just looking for something.
Jumbo comes in. Harrison comes in. Fields back in. Or correction, Smith back in. 46-24 Pitt. They started the game and ran out to a 10-2 lead and have never looked back. Ended the first half on a 9-2 run. Pitt in complete control. Frustrating night for KJ McDaniels. Drifts to his left, looks for help. Shot clock at 5. They've got to go. Harrison looks for an opening, can't find it. Filer fires a 3 and a shot clock violation. Zana looking for the answers. Robinson looking for Zana. Behind the defender. Oh, they're rolling tonight in Pittsburgh. You are watching the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports, reaching over 75 million U.S. TV households, over 65% of the country tonight.
But Talib Zana, over his last couple of games, you see 65% in field goals. Speaking of 65s, tonight, much better than that. He's made all 6 of his field goal attempts, has scored 16 points, and has done a great job running the floor. Zana is a very, very tough matchup because he can score around the basket, he can shoot the little jump shot, he's very versatile, and he can really run.
That assist and field goal ratio, I'm telling you, they're close to the record. 30 assists and 32 field goals is the record. That was against Notre Dame January 4th. And again today. Unselfish and red hot. Here's Robinson, looks up at the clock. Still plenty of time, 15 on the shot clock.
Again, what that indicates is they're getting really, really good shots.
How about the move by Robinson with a step back spin?
Well, he broke the streak, though. There won't be an assist on that field goal. So don't count it.
Extending the lead, Clemson just really struggling. Smith is the last to touch it. He'll knock it out of bounds. How about this move, Dan?
Robinson does a great job. This is a guy who does not shoot a lot, but usually he takes good shots. He's also a big shot maker for the Pitt Panthers. His teammates love to play with him because they know if they get open, he's going to find them. He's got 6 assists tonight to now go along with 8 points.
And he continues to lead the nation in assist to turnover margin. Jones is bumped as he drives down the lane, and the foul is on Harrison. That's his first. So DeMarcus Harrison picks up his first personal. Transfer from BYU. Robinson will go out of the ball game. He'll get a break. Newkirk will come in for Pitt.
And Pitt, through the first part of this season, has really developed a nice rotation in a couple of spots. We talked about their inside positions. Artis and Young play that 4 spot. They alternate very effectively. Newkirk comes in and does a nice job backing up Robinson.
Newkirk, the freshman from Raleigh, North Carolina. Very quick, very athletic guy.
Now, he's most noted for his ability to drive the ball to the basket, but if you leave him alone, he can knock down a 3. They're correcting that foul. Jukwa is the guy who picked up the foul.
Wright pulls up for the 2.
And once again, the Panthers do a great job getting back on defense. They have done a nice job tonight making Clemson play against the set defense, and the Tigers just haven't had any offensive answers.
Filer trying to create in the lane, kicks it out to Smith from long range. I'm not sure Smith's the guy you want out there shooting from long range.
I'm pretty sure he's not.
Newkirk gets the roll. Josh Newkirk with the bucket.
And see, that's one of the things that has happened to Clemson all night long. They take a bad shot, and the result of that bad shot is Pitt gets out and finds an easy basket in transition. Now we're going to get Randall inside pushing against Noko, I believe.
Yeah, I think he was sitting on his back and using that right arm for an advantage. That's his first. So Randall goes out. Zana comes back into the ball game for Pitt with 13 minutes to play. Boy, Clemson just struggling offensively.
That was actually a nice move inside by Noko. He just didn't finish it.
Pass to Jones is too hard.
Yeah, but that's one of the problems for Clemson. Lots of times teams who are struggling to score, they let their big guy get down inside, post up, and they can get some points in there. Clemson really doesn't have that luxury yet.
Tough pass to Handle down low, and he still comes up with it and still scores, and he's fouled.
And we have seen Zana handle a couple of tough passes. He caught one pass in transition behind him. This ball is thrown like right at his knees, but somehow, even though he bobbled it, he's able to pick it up and put it in the basket.
Jumbo picks up his second personal foul for Clemson. Carson Fields comes into the ball game now as they go all the way down their bench for the Tigers. Clemson now 6 minutes with no field goals. In their last 7 possessions, 0 for 4 with 3 turnovers.
That sounds like the start of the game. They've really struggled offensively.
And a possession arrow belongs to Clemson.
One of the problems that you have when you're not really making shots from the outside, when you do throw it inside, it allows the defense to collapse. And Noko, we said he's not really effective inside yet. He's developing. But one of the things an inside guy has to do isn't just catch the ball and turn and score, but recognize when the double team comes and find an open player out on the perimeter. And Noko just is not at that stage in his development as a post player yet.
No, that's a great point, especially when you look at their 3 for 12 from beyond the arc. They just sag in the middle. Zana again. Terrific pass from Newkirk. Zana just runs the floor.
And they can't find him in transition. They haven't been able to find him all night.
Timeout Clemson. 11:52 to play. And right now, it is all Pittsburgh. Tonight's coverage of ACC basketball is being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network. We welcome the nearly 1 million men and women of the U.S. Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, and Marines stationed around the globe in 175 countries and on the high seas. We're so proud to have you with us and hope you're enjoying the broadcast. I don't think Brad Burnell is right now. His team has been whooped early.
And this is a situation, Clemson, they just throw the ball away. And we've seen that a couple of times. You saw Jumbo turn around and raise his hands and say, where are you throwing it? But the result is Talib Zanna running down the court. And you can understand that expression on Brad Brownell's face. Just nothing has gone well tonight.
Pitt has gone on runs of 11-0, 9-0. They ended the first half 9-2, and currently they're on a 12-0 tear.
Well, Blossengame, for example, gets that shot blocked right there. Blossengame had 14 points and 10 rebounds against Duke. Noko had 10 points against Duke. Between the two of them, they only have 1 point tonight.
Well, it's on. The ACC mobile app features live games, videos, scores, stats, and news. Download it on your iPhone, iPad, or Android. Your teams or your app, the ACC mobile app presented by Outback Steakhouse. Download it today. What Jamie Dixon always does well, it seems, in his entire career against ACC schools. And now that Pitt is in the ACC, they're about to go to 5-1. He ranks first in the old Big East ahead of Jim Boeheim in winning percentage. This is a very talented basketball team. Zana again, this time he misses. First miss of the night. He's now 8 for 9. Hall got down low. Instead they go out to KJ and he drains a three. Where has that been saying? He struggled with a shot tonight.
That's his third three-point attempt of the game, but his first make, he's about a 35% shooter from out there.
Oh my, Patterson answers him.
Oh my.
We expected to see a shootout between those guys, a whistle and a foul. KJ McDaniels picked up 2 personals early in the ball game and had to sit for a while.
And then, Tim, he came back in the game, and they had to put him back in the game because the game was totally getting away from him. But McDaniels played much more tentatively than he normally plays because he had to be careful. And sometimes that just gets you out of whack a little bit as a player.
That's a good point because he did look like he was out of rhythm. Makes the free throw. He is an 86% free throw shooter.
He normally plays with such enthusiasm and such energy and intensity and aggressiveness, and all those factors go away when you're trying to be careful. You can't go out on a basketball court and try to be careful and play aggressively.
The junior from Birmingham, Alabama, makes them both.
The two things just don't fit together. But it's hard to be aggressive when you've got 2 fouls early in the game.
Part of that goes back to the strategy that he was covering Patterson. I know earlier in the day they told you that Blossom game may take Patterson. It didn't turn out that way. Nice pass to Zana. 9 for 10.
You know, Zana is a pretty big guy out there. They ought to be able to see him and guard him.
You would think.
But they haven't done it, not tonight.
You would think.
It's not like he's Muggsy Bogues where he can hide somewhere.
McDaniels wants this shot, works for the shot, and comes up short.
Yeah, but because he got in the lane, he created some offensive rebounding opportunities for his teammates.
Boy, good idea, poor execution. They just couldn't finish. Blossom game was on the baseline and was open.
Yeah, he couldn't catch it. And if you're going to make that pass, Tim, it's like through a couple of hands. You're going to whistle the ball, so you can't throw that one a lob pass. You've got to whistle that one in there, and Blossom game wasn't able to hang on. Again, Blossom game, he hasn't scored tonight. And when he scores effectively, then these Tigers become a different offensive kind of team.
I think even the fans are a little bit amazed at the efficiency with which Pitt has played tonight.
And again, Zana, they've made a couple of good passes to him, but they've made a couple of passes that he's really had to work to catch, but he hadn't dropped anything.
And he makes himself available all the time. Look at this.
Wow, he moves so effectively, and here he just comes right down the lane. And it's, he finds the spot, and he goes to the open spot, and lots of times, particularly as a post player, you talk about a guy being active. Well, what we mean when we say a post player is very active is he smells out those open areas and he runs to them.
Zana with 22 points tonight. His career high is 23, but I can't imagine him playing better than he has this evening. Joseph
Ochibo comes in the game for him.
KJ McDaniel. Back out to Hall. Hall for three. Wide open Smith. And finally, Chate knocks it down on the fourth attempt. (61-31) Pitt with 8:05 to play. Taken away in the easy bucket. Ajukwa.
And that's the way it's gone. Ajukwa gets the dunk, but he hangs on the rim, so he's going to get called for a technical foul. You know, you're allowed to hang on the rim if you're trying to avoid injury, and here Ajukwa steals the ball, and this is a nice play, but he just hangs on the rim and swings on it, and that's an easy call for the official.
You know, the player will tell you he's doing it for safety, and you can see him look down around and see if anybody was down there.
I think he knew nobody was there.
Trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, Dan.
I don't think Brad Brownell, he knows his guys haven't had the benefit of the doubt on much. Robinson, an 88% free throw shooter, missed that one.
And makes the second one.
And I'll tell you something, that technical foul is a technical foul that the officials really don't like to call. They would prefer that the players just not force them into that, to make that call. But he dunked the ball and he swung on the rim. You have to call that.
And now the Oakland Zoo starts to get on the Tigers. They're making it personal now. Shot clock at 15. Pitt continues to use a lot of the clock on each possession. Robinson on the baseline. And knocked out of bounds by McDaniels. So with 7:34, we'll be back after a word from your local ACC station.
Let's revisit our AT&T Fast analysis. We talked in the first half about the Pitt Panthers and their three-point shooting, and they were very hot in the first half. They made 4 out of 7. But in this half, they've made 2 more in 2 attempts, and so they're 6 for 9 tonight, coming in shooting under 35% for the season, but tonight shooting 2 out of every 3, 67%. This has been a Pitt team that has just hit on all cylinders.
Meanwhile, Clemson's field goal defense 36%. Pitt 60%. Big time difference. Robinson fires from long range, comes off the front of the rim, and that'll get Hall running with the alley-oop, and that's the best play of the night to McDaniels.
That's the kind of thing McDaniels can do, but Clemson just hasn't had many opportunities. The Tigers are much better when they can get out and play in transition as opposed to playing in the half court.
Turnaround, can't get the roll. Daniels and Patterson now each with 11 points, 2 stars coming into the game.
Jete just couldn't hang on to the ball.
Oh, nice crossover by Patterson. Tough shot. He'll go to the line, and he may be hurt. Grimacing, hit the floor hard.
Well, he looked like a contortionist driving into the lane there, trying to find an open opportunity.
Came down on his
He gets past McDaniel, gets into the lane, and watch, he jumps off to the side and continues to concentrate on that basket. Even while he's falling down, doesn't make any effort to protect himself. And you're right, he did fall on his hip. And Jamie Dixon, he knows that he cannot afford to lose Lamar Patterson. They've already lost Deron Johnson.
Patterson with 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists. And he'll now go out of the ball game. Newkirk checks back in. You think all eyes aren't firmly focused now on Pitt and Syracuse, the rematch February 12th? Oh, my. Pitt lost to Syracuse this past weekend, 59-54, and they really believe that they should have won that ball game. And, of course, we said earlier, that's the way a lot of teams feel after they play Syracuse. But this is a talented ball club with Pitt.
You know, it's interesting that you make that point. The Syracuse-Pitt matchup is February the 12th. There's another ACC game on February 12th that fans from the ACC are usually interested in.
Exactly right.
Duke and North Carolina. But that will be like the undercard game for Pitt and Syracuse.
That is amazing. Great point.
And who would have guessed that before the season started?
And Hall is fouled.
And that's something that also that Clemson has not been able to do effectively tonight that they usually can do. In fact, they have to do, and that is create that dribble penetration. We mentioned they don't have big guys who really catch it and make moves with their back to the basket, so they've got to get some dribble penetration to create an inside game, and Pitt has pretty effectively cut that off tonight.
The foul was on Newkirk, and that's his 3rd personal. As we go under the 6-minute mark here. Noto just threw up a brick. Gets it back out to Hall with a new 35.
I think that as he develops, Noto is going to be able to hit that shot. You know, he does a nice job getting position inside, but he just sort of can't finish.
Well, closed captioning for ACC basketball is provided by Bojangles' Famous Chicken and Biscuits. It's Bo time. Tonight it's been Pitt time from the very beginning. A game of runs. They started 11-0 run. They had a 9-0 run. Finished the first half on a 9-2 run. Boy, they have just dominated this ball game. Again, they continue to use a lot of the clock. Artists back to Robinson with 15.
And the only starter still in the game for Pitt is Robinson.
Now down to 6. Nice pass to Jones, who banks it in.
Remember we said before the game we talked about a key for Clemson being inside threats, to cut off the Pitt inside threats and get some of their own. It's been exactly the opposite. Pitt has been the team doing all the damage on the inside, and Clemson just has not been able to get anything done in there.
Boy, McDaniels continues to struggle with his shot.
And the Pitt passing has been so effective all night long. Here Newkirk gets into the lane, draws 5 guys. Everybody's looking at the ball, and as a result, Jones is able to get behind, and Jones did a nice job protecting the ball from the shot blocker, McDaniels. I don't think McDaniels has a blocked shot tonight.
Hall to the baseline. Here with the trees. They missed the dunk.
Oh, what a pass. My heavens.
And the finish.
Pass.
Jete's miss set up the transition.
Yeah, when you do a dunk attempt like that and the ball goes, the rebound goes so far, it just gives, it's like an outlet pass to Pitt.
This foul will be on Randall. And that's his second personal. Djokovic at the line. To be honest, Djokovic's giving him pretty good minutes when he's come in.
I think that Brad Brownell and his assistant Mike Manicki, they were just looking for some energy, and Djokovic has certainly provided it.
Misses the second. And the putback by Noko.
You know, when he gets it in there and has some time, he doesn't look too bad. Got a lot of room for growth in there, and it will certainly help the Clemson Tigers.
This is a team, definitely a Clemson team, that's going to get better as the year goes on.
Clemson Tigers can get some inside from back to the basket post game. They're being put in much better shape.
Newkirk hits it 3 ball. Well, his crowd is just loving it, the students. 3:33 to play. All Pitt. Well, the Peterson Event Center has been rocking from the get-go. Pitt got out to a 9-2 lead. They went on runs of 11-0, 12-0. Finished the first half on a 9-2 run. They had 37 points in the first half. Clemson has 38 now with 3:38 left to play. It has been all Pitt. And if you look at the field goal percentage, 60% for the Panthers, 31% for the Tigers. Not even close.
And those points off turnovers, a big factor, particularly early in the game. That's what got Pitt out and rolling.
And a terrific game by Zana, 9 of 10, 22 points. This is all of the line for Clemson.
The Tigers shot 35% from the field in the first half. And we talked about the fact that they really had to pick it up with their shot selection if they were going to make a comeback in the second half. But so far in the second half, they're only shooting 27%. So it's been a very rough offensive night for the Clemson Tigers.
That ball went halfway down and came back out. They blew the horn. They were going to put a substitute in. They were surprised the ball came back out.
Well, that's the way it's gone for Clemson tonight. But Tim, you said it. This is a Clemson team that came in riding a 3-game winning streak. The winner of this game ties for second place in the ACC. Clemson is probably the biggest surprise in the ACC so far, but they've just been totally walloped here tonight.
Well, you mentioned they were a preseason pick to finish 14th in the conference, and here they are now, two of the top 4 teams in the ACC coming into this game, but it's been, as you said, a whitewash. It has just been all Pittsburgh. Timeout Clemson with 2:36 to play in this ball game. Brad Brownell still looking for some answers and still trying to get his team at least.
And Brad Brownell, all he wanted to do was call a timeout to get Roper back in the game. So he's charged with a timeout. If he charges a 30-second timeout, but they just play. You know, what are you really going to say to your team at this point?
Well, Clemson now with just 20 second-half points. Their season low is 25. And there's Newkirk again with another 3-ball. Final 2 minutes, and Jamie Dixon is emptying the bench. And the Oakland Zoo goes wild. Fields on the baseline. Carson Fields, a 3-year walk-on, 2-time All-Academic in the ACC. Young knocks down a 2. Take a look at our Haviland defensive shield as Jamie Dixon goes down his bench.
Well, and Jamie Dixon's defense has been another story tonight. The Pitt Panthers coming in 3rd in the ACC, averaging better than 7 steals a game. 6 tonight, many of those early, and that really got the team rolling. And Clemson coming in as the best defensive team in the ACC. They just haven't really been able to get anything going tonight.
And as is always the case, when you put the subs in, they're full of energy. And I mean, they are all over Clemson right now defensively. Crashing the boards, and they come away with it. Ochibo with the rebound. And they turn it over. Ojukwu with a tough move. Newkirk with the foul. That'll be his 4th. That's his 5th correction. He is disqualified, so Newkirk leaves with 10 points.
Well, and Jamie Dixon, he doesn't have anybody over there on the bench. He just cleared his bench. He's going to have to put Chris Jones back in again.
So Ojukwu, Mr. Basketball at Cardinal Newman High School, Columbia, South Carolina. Ojukwu was the #2 recruit in South Carolina, 6'5" freshman. Misses the second. And now the Zoo is chanting Duron Johnson out with his ACL injury.
Aaron Nwanko.
Crowd loves it, don't they, when the substitutes come in? Really pulling for Joshua Koh, the freshman from Hawaii, trying to get that bucket. Awesome game, and that'll do it. Clemson wins it big. I mean, Pittsburgh wins it big, 76-43. I think I'm going punchy after this game. 43 points is all the Tigers had in the entire game. Huge win, huge night for the Panthers. We'll be back right after this.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Food Lion, official supermarket of the ACC. By your Carolina Ford dealers. By AT&T, exclusive wireless provider of the ACC. And by Ruby Tuesday, official corporate champion of the ACC.
Well, the Panthers ate up the Tigers tonight in the zoo, and right now Dan Bonner is with Pitt head coach Jamie Dixon. Dan?
Thank you very much, Tim. Jamie, a very impressive performance by your team tonight, particularly Talib Zanna. Talk about him a sec.
Well, I mean, you know, I think he's become more patient offensively, and now he's scoring more and more. Obviously, we pass the ball really well. We're getting him the ball in the right spot. He's outrunning big guys down the floor, and that's really helping our transition game. So I think he's just getting better and better, and that's great to see, knocking down some free throws and at the same time, you know, finishing plays in transition.
Now, Jamie, I've had the opportunity to see your team a couple of times now, and it seems to me that they're really coming together. They look better to me each time I see them.
Well, you know, we've got, I mean, you know, we haven't talked about it much, we don't do it, but we only have 4 returning players out there, so that was what was exciting to me. We could get better, and the 4 freshmen played really well tonight, and that was good to see. Obviously, we need Josh now with Duran at. We need Chris Jones, and Jamel played well, and Mike played well, so those are the guys that really have got to step up and get better. They're not going to play. They're going to play a little bit more each game, but they've just got to continue to improve, and that's what they did.
Well, Jamie, thank you very much. Congratulations. Best of luck to you.
Welcome home, Dan.
Thanks, Jamie. Tim, back to you.
All right, Dan, thank you very much. Our next telecast on our ACC network stations airs this Saturday at 3 o'clock. Some of you see Notre Dame take on Wake Forest. That's down in Winston-Salem. Others will see the Commonwealth rivalry as the Virginia Tech Hokies travel to Charlottesville to take on the Virginia Cavaliers. Find more information online, the official ACC mobile app, or the ACC.com. Once again, our final score, Pitt 76, Clemson 73. You have been watching exclusive coverage of Atlantic Coast Conference basketball on the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports. For Dan Bonner, I'm Tim Brandt saying so long from the Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.